Where did this happen?
This just happened right in the middle of the road. I can't call nobody.
Were you walking or were you in a car?
I was walking that way.
With your baby?
No, he was supposed to be in the car.
His car door open. I'm thinking he finna jump out, but then next thing you know, I seen a baby down there. He ran over the baby and took off.
Out in the street?
Right here at the red light.
You are being arrested. Okay? We're going to take you across the street right now. Okay?
Help me.
All right. Well, let's just get this over with, all right? We just got to walk you across the street.
Yeah, I'm going to jail.
What's that?
So I got to go to jail.
Yes, sir. Today you do.
What you're about to watch might be the most disturbing and heartbreaking case I have covered here. A father, angry over a small disagreement, makes a decision that will forever alter the lives of everyone involved. What started as a petty argument, one that many families experience, soon escalated into an unimaginable tragedy. On February 23, 2025, in Jacksonville, Florida, Justin Golden, a 20-year-old man, would be arrested for an act so horrific that it left his community in a state of shock.
And see, the young lady standing to the right was on the curve holding the baby. And we asked her, was she okay? But the firefighters and the ambulance was on its way. It hit home, you know, anything dealing with kids and the youth, we take very serious.
The crime? The murder of his own 8-month-old son, Pablo Kai Golden. At around 9:30 a.m., police would respond to a 911 call. The voice on the other end? Witnesses, horrified and breathless, reporting that a father had just run over his infant son. When first responders arrived at the scene near McDuff and Lenox Avenues, they were met with a chilling sight. 8-month-old Pablo lying lifeless on the road after being by his father's vehicle. As police scrambled for answers, they uncovered a devastating truth. Justin Golden had deliberately placed his son on the ground and then driven him during the heated argument with his wife, Pablo's mother, all because she had refused to let him spend the last $8 in the home. But what investigators would later uncover about Justin's state of mind and a shocking sentence that followed would leave the entire courtroom stunned. Before we confront the moment that shattered the life of an innocent 8-month-old baby, let's rewind to where it all began. Pablo Kai Golden was born on June 10, 2024, to Shamir and Justin Golden. This little boy, only 8 months old at the time of his death, was innocent, full of life, and had his entire future ahead of him. His short life, while brief, was filled with the love of his mother, Shamir, and his father, Justin, even if it would ultimately end in the most tragic of circumstances. Pablo's world revolved around his family. Like many young children, he was growing, learning, and discovering the world around him. His mother, 20-year-old Shamir Whitby, had always dreamed of being a good mom, providing for her kids and ensuring that they grew up happy and healthy. However, the relationship with Pablo's father, Justin, would soon unravel, setting the stage for one of the most devastating crimes. Pablo had an older sibling, and while that brought a sense of completeness to the Golden family, it couldn't shield him from the tensions growing between his parents. Their home, though filled with love, was also marred by volatile emotions and unresolved anger. Justin, despite being young himself, carried an immense amount of unresolved trauma and frustration, which increasingly clouded his judgment and relationships. His unpredictable mood swings and emotional instability began to take a toll on his family, and this brewing tension would soon come to a tragic head. The Golden family lived in Jacksonville, Florida, a city with a population just over 150,000. While it was a place where families, like many others across the country, tried to build a life for themselves, it was also a city familiar with its fair share of hardship. Jacksonville, like many urban areas, faced challenges: crime, poverty, and community struggles, but nothing could have prepared its residents for the heartbreaking tragedy that would unfold in the quiet of that Sunday morning. As the community went about its daily routine, they could never have known that this small family, struggling to navigate their own battles, would face a tragedy that would forever change their lives and leave a scar on the hearts of everyone who knew them. Pablo's mother, Shamir, had a deep bond with her son. She worked hard to balance her role as a mother while trying to maintain her own sense of independence. But on the morning of February 23, 2025, that bond, that love for her child, would be tested in the most unimaginable way. The tragic events of that Sunday began over something small, so small in fact that it seems incomprehensible that such violence could result from it. The disagreement started when Shamir and Justin went to Walmart together, with $50 given to them by Justin's mother to buy diapers for Pablo. After buying the diapers, there was about $8 left over from the total purchase. What should have been a simple decision about how to spend this small leftover money turned into a fight, one that would set off a horrific chain of events.
My baby mom, she ended up letting me know, like, they need some more diapers and wipes and stuff like that. I had already knew that, but I wasn't going, you know what I'm saying, go get them. I was going to order them. She ended up talking me into, like, going to get them. So we leave the house, we go get the diapers or whatever. After we get the diapers, she let me know, like, she hungry, she want to go this place to get some food or whatever. I'm letting her know, like, I got to put gas in the car before I do anything. Like, even if you guys go look at the car right now, like, it literally barely got gas in it because I had just put that gas that's in it. We ended up, you know what I'm saying, leaving from the Walmart. We still, you know what I'm saying, arguing or whatever, talking about it, discussing it, however you want to put it.
According to Shamir, Justin wanted to use the remaining money to buy an illegal substance. This disagreement about money quickly escalated into an argument, and Shamir, frustrated, decided to leave the situation by walking away. She didn't want to engage with Justin further. The argument was getting out of hand, and she didn't feel safe. Justin, feeling slighted and furious, responded in a way that no one could have anticipated. Instead of backing down, he decided to take a drastic step. He took Pablo, his infant son, out of his car seat, placed the child on the side of the road, and then proceeded to drive off, over the baby in the process. The horror of the situation was not just that a father ran over his own child, it was the deliberate act of placing the child on the road and then driving over him. Witnesses who saw the tragic scene unfold could not believe what they were witnessing. One witness described seeing Justin open his driver's side door and without hesitation place Pablo on the ground before closing the door and driving away. As Justin drove off, the witness saw Pablo's body on the road, lifeless. The witness, shocked and horrified, rushed to help. Unfortunately, by the time the bystanders arrived at the scene, it was too late. The impact had already taken Pablo's life. The front tire of the car had struck the baby, and the damage was fatal. As police arrived at the scene, they quickly realized the gravity of the situation. A small argument between a couple over money had escalated into a life-or-death situation for an 8-month-old child. The tragic irony was that Justin, the father, was the one responsible for Pablo's death. After the incident, Justin did not immediately realize the extent of his actions. He left the scene, trying to drive away from the horrifying event, but a witness followed his black GMC Terrain to a nearby gas station and alerted 911. Officers soon arrived, taking Justin into custody.
All right, Mr. Golden, step out for me.
What's up, man?
I don't even get to talk, man.
No, you're gonna get to talk. You'll get to talk.
Hey, what? Oh.
Go this way.
Hey, just let her pat you down. You don't have nothing on you, right?
Oh. I ain't even letting me talk before anything. Like, what, bro?
No, you're gonna get to talk. We don't want to ask you nothing yet.
Can you watch this?
I'm not gonna go nowhere.
No, I know you're not.
All right, man. I didn't get a chance to
I'll
double
pull
lock
straight
it, so I'm
over.
gonna double lock these handcuffs. That'll keep the handcuffs from tightening up on you.
I stopped. I didn't. Like, I'm trying to see why.
Hold on.
I'm not gonna go nowhere.
New at 11, a man arrested after police say he ran over a baby on Jacksonville's west side. Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Riley Phillips. The Jacksonville Sheriff's Office says 20-year-old Justin Golden placed an 8-month-old in the road while stopped at the intersection of McDuff and Lenox Avenue, then hit the child while driving away.
At first, Justin seemed confused and unable to comprehend the severity of what had just happened. He repeatedly stated that he didn't mean to hurt his son and couldn't understand what was happening.
Girl for me, and I started, and when she put the cuffs on me, I started asking. I was like, "Can I please explain? Like, can you know what I'm saying? Tell me what I'm getting cuffed for, like that." She was like, "I'm not getting arrested. I'm just being detained for right now." But it was still scaring me because, like,
Yeah.
at least tell me, like, you know, like what's going, like what I'm getting detained for. That's all I wanted. Like,
Okay.
God honest truth.
When investigators interviewed Shamir, they learned that there had been an ongoing pattern of arguments between the couple, stemming from issues like money, trust, and unmet expectations. Shamir revealed that Justin had sometimes been emotionally volatile, though there had been no clear signs of prior abuse. She described Justin as someone who had a tendency to escalate situations quickly and sometimes made threatening remarks in the heat of the moment. She also mentioned how Justin had a history of putting his hands on her in the past. Despite this, no one could have predicted that things would escalate to the point of running over their baby. There was no warning, no indication that Justin would reach such a violent conclusion over a simple disagreement. It was a shocking, incomprehensible act of violence. But what was originally believed to be an accidental tragedy soon revealed a much darker and more deliberate set of actions. The witnesses at the scene, who had seen the entire horrific act unfold, were instrumental in piecing together the final moments of Pablo's life. One witness described seeing Justin Golden open his driver's side door and without hesitation place Pablo on the ground before closing the door and driving away. This chilling account left investigators stunned. How could a father, someone who should have loved and protected his son, commit such a deliberate and heinous act? As police began to sift through the evidence, they discovered something even more disturbing. Surveillance footage from a nearby gas station where Justin Golden fled after the incident captured the horrifying details. The video showed Justin's car moving away from the scene, with the small body of Pablo visible in the road. The car's front tire was seen near the baby's body. The violence of the incident was undeniable. As the investigation progressed, it became clear that this wasn't a mere accident. It was the result of Justin's decisions. According to witnesses, Justin had made several choices that led to Pablo's tragic death. First, he had removed his son from the car seat. Then, he had placed him on the side of the road. Finally, he had driven away over the baby without hesitation. Despite the undeniable evidence, Justin seemed to remain in a state of disbelief about what he had done. He was still adamant that he never intended to hurt his son. In interviews with the police, Justin expressed confusion and anguish, repeatedly claiming that he never meant for the situation to escalate the way it did. Not only that, Justin's initial statement to the police was full of contradictions. While he expressed remorse and claimed that he didn't mean to harm Pablo, his actions immediately following the incident seemed to tell a different story. Not only had he removed his son from the car and placed him in a vulnerable position on the side of the road, he then proceeded to drive away, seemingly unaware of the gravity of what had just transpired. According to Justin, Shamir had wanted to spend the remaining $8 on food, but he insisted that they needed to put gas in the car first. The argument escalated from there. However, as Justin spoke, his story seemed to fall apart. In one breath, he claims that he didn't realize he had hit his son with the car, but in the next, he admitted that he had not stopped to check, leading investigators to wonder whether his indifference was the result of recklessness or a more deliberate attempt to distance himself from the crime. The autopsy on Pablo confirmed that his cause of death was blunt force trauma with extensive head injuries caused by being run over by the car. The blunt impacts to his skull and the lacerations to his brain were consistent with the testimony of the witness who described seeing Pablo's body being struck by the car's front tire. Justin Golden was arrested and charged with aggravated manslaughter and vehicular homicide. Shamir, who was already devastated by the loss of her son, had to come to terms with the fact that the man she had been with, Pablo's father, was the one responsible for ending her baby's life. The community, too, was left in disbelief, unable to comprehend how something so senseless could happen. Justin's arrest seems to hit harder than anyone had anticipated. The news broke quickly, sending heartbreak through the community. A young father who was supposed to protect his child was now charged with aggravated manslaughter and vehicular homicide. The same man who had once been seen holding Pablo in family photos now stood accused of ending his life. But what made the case even more complex was the emotional roller coaster that Justin went through during his arrest. He was visibly distraught even in the face of the overwhelming evidence against him. Throughout his arrest and subsequent interviews, Justin repeatedly asked for his mother, crying out for comfort in what he called an unfathomable situation.
Bro, please, bro. Please, can you call my mom?
We'll work on that, okay?
We're not gonna stop and call her right now.
I know,
Tell
but
you
I'm
that much.
I get it.
Bro,
We're sorry.
I'm trying to calm down, bro.
Okay.
But it's one of them situations where God honest, like, bro, y'all gotta understand, bro. It's one of them situations, God honest truth. God can strike me right now. Like, I promise to God on everything I love. I know you guys don't care about me saying none of that. I know. But it's one of them situations. I wasn't trying to hurt anyone. I didn't even tell her to get out or force her to get out. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't like it was no situation where, you know, I was trying to force a person to get away from me, or I was trying to get a kid out of my, you know what I'm saying, out of my reach because I'm annoyed at them, or because I don't want them around, or because I just simply don't like them or have hate for them. It wasn't that.
It became clear that Justin Golden was struggling to reconcile the person he was and the crime he had committed. In the eyes of the law, his actions were cold and deliberate, but to him it appeared that he still could not accept the full weight of his son's death. For Shamir, the aftermath of the tragedy was an unbearable nightmare. Having witnessed her partner's violent actions and then losing her child in such a senseless manner, she was left to pick up the pieces of her shattered life. The emotional trauma of watching her son's life be taken so violently would haunt her forever. During interviews with detectives, Shamir revealed that Justin had made violent threats in the past. She described how he had previously made remarks about popping the baby when he was frustrated, though she never took those threats seriously. It was clear that Justin had a history of volatility, but no one ever expected it to escalate to this point. While Shamir had never witnessed Justin harm their children before, it was evident that his emotional instability had created a toxic environment. She also admitted that she had taken precautions in the past, including carrying mace, to protect herself from his outbursts. This toxic dynamic had become a painful part of their relationship, with no one ever fully understanding the depths of Justin's anger and emotional turmoil. The trial began with an air of anticipation, as the court would soon decide Justin's fate. As the defense and prosecution prepared their cases, the central issue was whether Justin acted out of anger, recklessness, or if he genuinely believed that his actions were not malicious. The prosecution argued that no matter the context, Pablo's death was preventable. Justin's decision to place his son on the side of the road and then drive away, compounded by his apparent indifference to the child's well-being, spoke to criminal negligence. For them, there was no question. Justin Golden was responsible for the loss of his son's life. On the other hand, Justin's defense presented a different story. They attempted to show that Justin had no intention of harming his son. They argued that while his actions were misguided, there was no premeditated malice. The defense painted a picture of Justin as a young man struggling with emotional instability and frustration, not a cold-blooded killer. They tried to show that Justin's remorse, his pleading for his mother, and his continuous statements that he never meant to hurt Pablo demonstrated that his actions were born out of a moment of emotional turmoil, not a deliberate act of violence. Eventually, Justin Golden entered a guilty plea to aggravated manslaughter of a child. In exchange, the vehicular homicide charge was dropped. This plea set the stage for sentencing, with both sides preparing arguments. In December 2025, during sentencing hearings, both prosecution and defense presented starkly different recommendations. Prosecutors urged a 25-year sentence, arguing the crime was severe and exceeded standard sentencing guidelines of 13 years.
Your family says that you are. There appears to be nothing that this court needs to rehabilitate, because you are, by all accounts, an exemplary young man. that made a terrible choice about a son that you were entrusted with his care. His mom left, his mom took him out, she put him next to you, and you were entrusted with him, and you violated that trust. As to count one, this court, having accepted your plea of guilty, will adjudicate you guilty. This court will sentence you to 30 years in the Florida State Prison, giving you credit for the days served. How many?
328 days, Your Honor.
328 days. Court's in recess.
In December 19, 2025, Judge London Kite delivered the ruling, sentencing Justin to 30 years in prison with credit for 328 days already served. The sentence exceeded both the prosecution's request and the defense's plea, reflecting the judge's view of the crime's gravity and the vulnerability of the victim. As word of Pablo's death spread through Jackson, the community was left reeling. Family members, friends, and neighbors struggled to comprehend how something so horrific could happen within their own community. A father, once seen as a provider, a protector, had now become the perpetrator of a heinous act. The streets of Jackson had never witnessed such a tragedy, and people couldn't fathom how a father could so callously end his own child's life. As the investigation continued, the debate over self-defense and the psychology behind Justin's actions became a focal point. Some argued that Justin had acted out of frustration, a man pushed to his limits by his own emotions. Others saw it as a crime born of neglect, a tragic consequence of a broken family dynamic. No matter the arguments that were made, the fact remained that Pablo Kai Golden, an innocent 8-month-old child, had lost his life in the most violent and senseless way possible. The tragic story of 8-month-old Pablo Kai Golden serves as a sobering reminder of how fragile life can be and how quickly things can spiral out of control. In the blink of an eye, a simple argument over money led to a series of irreversible decisions. Justin Golden, a man once entrusted with the care of his son, now faces the weight of the consequences for his actions. For Shamir, the pain of losing her child and the betrayal she experienced from the person she once loved will never fade. Pablo Kai Golden, an innocent 8-month-old, will never get the chance to grow up. He will never take his first steps, never speak his first words, and never experience the joy of life that was so unfairly cut short. His death is a tragedy that will haunt his family forever, a reminder that sometimes the greatest dangers lie not in the hands of strangers, but within the very people we trust the most. The court has spoken, but the emotional scars will remain for all involved. As the story of Pablo Kai Golden fades from the headlines, the pain for those who loved him will never go away. What do you think about it? Let us know in the comments below. And if you found this story intriguing, please like, share, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories like this.